Hi, I'm Alex Archbold. I've been buying and selling antiques since I was a kid. Over the years, generations of our family have gotten involved in the business, and I'll search just about anywhere I can to find hidden treasures both big and small. I never know what I'll turn up next. It's about exploring new places, seeing new sights, and having fun. And even though sometimes I get over my head, we try and make things a little better along the way. This is Curiosity Inc. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. I am continuing my journey through Arkansas, and I have found, well, based on actually some of your recommendations at home, you guys said you got to get out to Prairie Grove, Arkansas, because the whole town is like an antique store. And guess what? I'm here. So whoever told me to do that, guess what? It actually worked. So we're going to go wander around and see what we can find, hoping to find some treasures, but more so show you guys this cool little town. So let's go. When you're driving through a town on your way to an antique store, you don't expect to see a giant skeleton on somebody's front yard, and it's nowhere near Halloween. I guess if you got a commitment to creepy skeletons, why not keep it on the front yard? Okay, so on that side is the battlefield, and on this side there's an equally important historical marker for a telephone booth. There's a historical marker for a telephone booth. That makes me feel really old. Look, they still have a phone book. 2020. Wow, they're still making phone books. But they actually have a historic marker for a phone booth. I've never felt older in my entire life. And if you stop in the Prairie Grove area to check out the antique shops, you can come to the Prairie Grove battlefield, and right where we're standing, see the house structure back there? Well, if we were here during the Civil War, there was a battle happening right in front of us. In fact, there's a well-known painting, which I'll put in the video right around here, and you can see that I'm standing right where all the soldiers were lining up and shooting at each other. It's kind of crazy history. Makes you wonder what's underneath the ground here. Some days you just wish you had a metal detector with you, but I don't think they'd let that happen here. So apparently during the battle, the Borden family that lived here, they had an orchard, and there's actually remnants of the orchard apple trees out that way. When the battle started, they went about a mile west of here and they hid in a cellar. When they came back the next day, their house had been burnt to the ground because I guess soldiers had been hiding in it. They rebuilt this one in 1870, the family did, so it's been here since 1870. It's closed up, you can't go in it, but you can peek inside through the window, and it looks like this little section of basement is missing. You can see the, I'm gonna try and get the camera right up in there. There's their little crawl space down there. It's actually kind of a pretty old home. It's a shame they don't have it opened up for people to look in, but I guess they have their reasons. But look, this is the old well. And they put a cage on it. You can see there's little bits of fruit from the old orchard that was here when that battle still happened. The fruit trees are still around. But I wonder what's down the well. You'd think at some point somebody would have dug it up to go search. There's probably all kinds of bottles and stuff. If you could figure out where the privy was, that'd have all kinds of stuff in it too, but who knows what's down there? A musket, perhaps? An old sword at the very bottom? Or is somebody with a magnet fishing set up when you need them? Well, got out of the car and instantly I met with a giant metal horse across the street. I have to say I love a good American small town street front like this. So I guess I'll start on the right hand side and see what's over here. The Creative Fix. Okay, this will be store number 1 if they're open. And then we'll continue all the way down. I don't know who's open and who's not, but we'll find out. Not. We'll come back. We'll keep walking down the street. First shop that I found that's open is the Locals Flea Market, and right away you're greeted with some cool old antiques. So look at this. It's like a little bar set that looks like kind of a Spanish villa or something. It's an Inter-American Forces Academy. It's like a little town full of alcohol. I feel like I've visited that town before. Oh, and they've got sales on too. Look, it went from 50% off to 75% off. maybe we'll get some good deals. Oh, actually, you know what these are? These are like service station letters. They're not porcelain or anything, but should I buy it? It's telling me not to, but that's neat. A little Squire Strat. A good guitar to learn on. Oh, look, I said everything 20% off except the guitar. So they knew they had a good piece when it came to that guitar. My dad did a movie back in the day, and he used to have a red Fender sitting around the house for a while there that I got to play on a little bit before I kind of taught myself how to play guitar. This is kind of neat. Great Northern Railway. It's an advertising thermometer, and that is an original. And only $15. Actually, it's part of the booth where everything's 20% off too, and that would probably fit in my bag. They also had, I don't know what that is, turnbuckles advertising sign in this early 70s or late 60s. No, it's from 1970 Matchbox set. I do like these old gift sets like this, but these yesteryear cars aren't really quite as collectible. It's the more the cars of the era, 1960s cars that are collectible. Another turnbuckle sign. That's a fair price, $15, and this one's only $8. It's a great deal. Now you guys know me well enough that I'm always collecting old Hot Wheels stuff. Look at this, it's an original Hot Wheels thermos. $75, so it's kind of all the money on it, but that's really cool. You don't see those that often. And look, there's even the little lunch kit too. Sizzlers, yeah, and that's the thermos that probably would have gone inside of it. Sometimes you see these boards where people have taken their collection and put it up there, but you've got some nice indigenous or Native American beadwork, and then you've got all the little sampling of different type of arrowheads from over the years. Now, it's hard to say whether these are actually old because they're made of rock. I mean, obviously the rock itself is old, but it's kind of a nice little display. It looks like there was probably something in the middle here that's not there anymore, but I've seen those. I had a barbed wire collection, all the history of barbed wire, basically. Occasionally you see where people have put those together. But that was a little pokey. You got to be careful not to stab yourself with barbed wire along the way. Now, I'm not a big sewing machine collector. In fact, a lot of the ones that I pick up are usually the featherweights because they sell well. But, you know, just a little side thing. Look how fancy things were. Just basic, common, use around the house sort of things were just so pretty. They didn't have to go to all that effort to put all those decals and all the decorative artwork on there, but they did. And you only saw it when you took it out to use it. Otherwise, it was in a plain wooden box. Just when people really cared about how stuff looked and how it made you feel. And that, I guarantee that thing probably still works too. You could still sew with it 100 years later. The next shop I've popped in is called Miss Rosie's, and that's because that's Miss Rosie right there. And they got the gang and their Great Dane over there. And we've got freeze-dried candies. How do these sell, by the way? I see these in some of the shops. They look, I guess you're not going to get expired because they're freeze-dried now, but...
Well, and it's absolutely wild how well they sell.
Oh, I bet.
mean, she's always in here restocking, so...
Yep. I used to, as a kid, you could go and get astronaut ice cream, and it was freeze-dried ice cream, and that used to be a big deal. Now you get freeze-dried everything just about.
Oh, yeah.
You're okay if I have a look around?
I'm great with that.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna look around. I collect old signs and watches and Redline Hot Wheels and all kinds of stuff, so.
Well, we have a barrel of Hot Wheels.
Ooh, where's the barrel of Hot Wheels at?
It's right there.
Oh, I see, right here, okay.
And then there's a barrel, and there's also a box.
Oh, I see, right next to it. But no barrel of monkeys. Just a barrel of Hot Wheels. Well, that's okay too. Well, that could keep me busy for a while. I'm going to have a little walkabout here and see what you guys have. So would you say Missouri or Missouri? I heard people from Missouri say Missouri, but I don't know what the difference.
We say Missouri.
You say Missouri? Okay. I got to get educated on this stuff. Look at this funny little pot. His little hat comes up. It's a teapot, I think. Yeah, it's a teapot. Where does the liquid come out of? Oh, it comes right out of the top of his nose. It's kind of gross. Kind of cool though too. You have a little bit of uranium glass down here. Yep, they've got it marked as such, uranium celery bowl. You can always tell when it's that shade of green that it's going to be uranium. It's always good stuff. I was happy the other day I found a uranium glass ashtray, advertising tire ashtray, which is kind of uncommon. Every time I come to a store, I see something cool that I'd want that's too big to bring home right now. Look at this. Old Strombecker midget car racing set. Only $28. That's a neat little set, that is. Love the graphics on these boxes. I'm just moving these like, 100-year-old dolls out of the way like they're nothing, but I better be careful that I don't knock her over. Because bisque, it'll break. I'm gonna step away from that, but that's a good deal on that. And actually the dolls too, it's a very fair price for a 100-year-old bisque doll. But here is something that I can honestly say I've never seen before. It's a big wind-up mechanical clock. You can see where you wind it up on the top there, but it's also a table. Now, I don't know if somebody's taken a wall mount clock, which is more likely, and that they've made this base for it, but you've got your pendulum in the bottom there, which is really strange. Like I said, never seen it before. I think that's just a cool piece. Wouldn't that be neat to have in your house as sort of an accent piece? You go to some stores like Restoration Hardware and they'd probably sell something like this, especially if it actually functions. That'd probably be like a $2,000 accent table at a high-end store. Here, $295. It doesn't seem bad considering you're not going to see another one anywhere else. And it's in this booth here that kind of reminds me of, I was saying this is like the Montana booth. You got the horn chair, you got the pistol and the holsters. When I was a kid and went to Montana, this is kind of the vibe I got, that's where I got my Davy Crockett hat and my replica rifle that I ran around the neighborhood playing cops and robbers with my friends, and people thought I had a real gun. There's all the Pyrex here. And look at these cute owl cookie jars too. Owl canister cookie jar set, $48 for the whole set. That would be so cool to have in your kitchen, wouldn't it? You could put your flour or your sugar. I guess they're not really cookie jars, it's a canister set. So flour, sugar, tea, whatever. But wouldn't that be neat to have in your house? I think that's the sort of thing even my wife would like. It's just quirky, fun, usable stuff like that always sells. And of course, Pyrex always sells. There's Amish butter print right there. And then the primary sets. All kinds of good stuff. But I think the neatest thing that I saw that they have at the store would be this clock table. I just think that's so cool. I have no idea what they're asking for this, but I looked at the plaque and it says it's Frederick Remington, and it is signed indeed by Remington. If that is a real Remington bronze, which I don't know them well enough to know, but that could be a really valuable piece. Next stop is Old School Vintage, and you can find them online or you can send them an email if you see something you like and maybe you want to buy, but you should really come in person. Walked in the door and already saw a bunch of, well over 100-year-old. These are what, 1900 to 1915, somewhere in there. Mechanical, possibly Ives and other train bodies. That's some nice tin plate toys in the case. So I feel like there's gonna be an opportunity to find some good treasures. So let's have a look around and see what we can find. Look, there's a Dukes of Hazzard lunch kit in Land of the Giants. Saw a cat that big coming at me. I think I'd be running too. That guy's gonna need a bigger stick to poke him away. So I was told that in the back of the store, and this used to be a bank, probably 100 years ago or so. I would imagine this building's quite old. The last antique shop I was in, a couple doors over, used to be a doctor's office. I said, boy, could you imagine if you had a time machine and they could see how their business changed and shifted. Look at this old cigar stand. That's so cool. I saw this typewriter in the case. It's a tiny little Corona. Just the cutest little travel typewriter, and it's got its case too. The smaller the typewriter, usually the better or the more collectible they are. That's a good one. I mean, obviously he's gotten a good case there, but how neat is that? My friend Greg collects typewriters and he's always looking for stuff. I'll have to tell him about that. Caravel advertising clock. This store definitely has my vibe. It's got all kinds of neat things in it. But I heard at the very back of the shop, which is where I'm headed, there's a whole pile of old toys. So let's see if we can find it. I'm following the arrows around the corner and passing by all these great, cool artifacts, but I think it's down this way. Oh, there we go. I'm in Toy Central now. We've got the pressed steel trucks, big old Buddy L truck, Auburn Harley Davidson. Was it like a WLH or something like that? The old Tonkas. So I'll have a little look about, see what they have. But if a person collects these sort of old toys, it's hard to come across them in this kind of quantity. Of course, he's got some Lionel trains. That's part of the U.S. Army set that had a rocket firing, like a missile firing car that went on the back of that. Actually, it fires missiles itself. I had that set at one point. It was pretty neat. Arnold Palmer's classic golf course tractor. Okay. I guess if you really like Arnold Palmer and you want to have a little golf course tractor, why not? I didn't even know they made that. You guys know they made that? I didn't know they made that. With Lionel trains, it's the metal-bodied ones are the better. When they started getting a little cheaper and made out of plastic later on, so those aren't as collectible. The one of the bigger trains, like a 700E, is like almost twice the length and a substantial set. And that's probably, I think it's still one of the most valuable Lionel trains that they made. It's always an expensive one to get, and I've yet to find one in the wild like this. But someday, maybe today, maybe around this corner, I'll come across one. Oh, look at this. Look at this giant toy robot. Never seen that before. Somebody's part of a roller skating club. They've got the suitcase for roller skates. So that'd be a neat little decoration, wouldn't it? Have that. It's got all the different arenas that they went to. U.S. Amateur Roller Skating Association. I think that's just nifty. And yeah, I just said nifty, and I meant it too. You always see these boxes of comics and you don't expect to actually find anything old, but sure enough, look, you've got 15-cent Spider-Man 88, Dr. Octopus, and X-Men number 58. And this is, it looks like it's when it says Enter the Man Called Havoc. That's like them introducing a character, and those are key issues. Those are always the better ones that you want to look for. So there are actually some neat old comic books here. They're definitely not in the right type of bag, but might be some good value here. So walking down the street, and this shop is not open at the moment, but look in the window at the faded sign, the 1959 Schwinn Jaguar. What a beautiful old bike that is. And on the other side, they've got this great big cabinet. That's $290 for that antique china cabinet. But sadly, they're not open. Unless you go in through this side. Went into the shop next door where the bicycle was. It's a big mercantile building, massive building in here. And I'm looking at the advertising clock for the Calumet baking powder. That's really neat. And the old school gramophone with the horn. Those are nice. The spool cabinets, beautiful. And on the floor, of course, the US Royal, that's a tire display. So you would put a tire in the middle of that. And that would be in a shop to display that brand of tire. There's all kinds of neat stuff. Tiffany style lamps, big ride-on wooden toys, probably wartime era because it's made out of wood. Tiny Town tipper truck. You ride on it and actually tip stuff into the back. That's cool. So I don't know what the deal is with this cow. To me, it looks kind of like it would have been a store display or something. His head is just bobbing away there, and I don't see it plugged in. So it's just possessed by the devil of a cow. He's got the horns on it. Oh, but it's kind of a neat piece. I'm guessing antique windows display or something like that, maybe 40s or 50s. Not technically antique, I guess. Yeah. This is all their cow stuff. Their livestock related paraphernalia. Now that's the proper way to display saltwater taffy right there. Look at that great display cabinet. They said a lot of these old cabinets and displays were in this building since brand new. And to give you an idea, it's almost 2 stories tall inside and runs all the way down and back. It's a really big space. But they've got everything from pickled asparagus to antiques and saltwater taffy and everything in between. I'm gonna walk down. I just kind of saw this Royal Crown Cola sign. But some of these don't have prices on them, so maybe it's just a display piece that they don't want to sell. But those old bottle signs are neat. 7-Up, that one's for sale. $360 on that. Having fun so far. This is so strange. I walked through this hallway and I thought I would show you guys. They have this massive selection of old metal letters. So I guess if you found your initials or something, they just have letters after letters after letters. And the ones with the holes, I think that would be designed like that to put neon tubing in. And then there's some with paint still on them, but I've never seen such a selection of letters. They must have stripped every old sign in the whole area and got them down here. You can spell whatever the heck you want. And if you don't want to cut yourself when you're moving them, you could wear those leather chaps as well. Or just wear them for fun. Who am I to say? I'm not sure if this wins the trophy for the weirdest painting that I found in an antique store. It's like a puppy head on a human general's body or something. I'm Colonel Puffy Lot. There's that, or you have your choice of like Carmen Miranda monkey. There's that. So yeah, I think that might take the cake for the 2 weirdest paintings I found inside of a thrift store so far. Oh no. Look, it's a giant monkey painting. You thought having clown paintings in your house was bad. Try putting that above your fireplace. When I was in the mercantile or the antique store over there, they said in the back alley there used to be the original town jail. So I decided, why the heck not go down the back alley and look what I found. There's the old jail. Do you imagine getting locked up in that thing? In 100-degree Arkansas summer, just a little window there? No, thank you. And they left it. It's still there. And still has the bars on the window and everything, but that is an old time jail. I'm sure some people had some bad nights in there. No Otis from the Andy Griffith Show, The Town Drunk. That was, you're out back in the heat. It's cool they still have it though. Well, I managed to see almost the entire main street. There's a lot more to see around the corners. Definitely worth the trip. There's a lot of unique and different shops. There's some that are Western, some that are more like boho chic. There's all kinds of cool stuff, so you gotta come out and check out Prairie Grove, Arkansas. As for me, guys, I'm off on more adventures and I'm gonna keep on exploring around Arkansas, but I'm having a great time so far. So subscribe if you haven't done that already. Make sure to tune in for more episodes. And as always, bye for now.